we're doing a wrap up. Good morning, y'all. Okay, so is it the middle of April? Pretty much. Also, I'm sick, so ignore this whole situation. So I didn't do a February reading wrap up because I only read 4 books in February, but I read 6 books in March, so we're going to talk about 10 books today. I would say this is a very successful wrap up. Like, I had a lot of really good books in this. Let me get on my Goodreads and we'll get right into it. The first book that I read in February was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This was literally so cute. I gave this 5 stars. Basically, it's about this girl, Stassi, and Nathan. I don't know how to pronounce her name, if it's Anastasia or Anastasia. So I kept switching back and forth in my head while I was reading the book, and I was like, whatever. And she's a figure skater and he's a hockey player, and some incident happens at their school or their college, and they end up having to share a rink, and obviously that like brings its problems. And it's supposed to be kind of like a reverse Grumpy Sunshine, like she's grumpy and he's like a golden retriever. But it was super cute. I loved them. I loved the characters. At some points I kind of felt like the plot was kind of all over the place, but it was still cute. It had me hooked from the beginning, so loved this. 5 stars. The next book I read was The DoOver by Lynn Painter. It's pretty short. It's a YA fiction romance type thing, and basically it's like the movie Groundhog Day, but it's Valentine's Day. So like this girl, I forget her name. What's her name? Emily. This girl Emily like keeps reliving Valentine's Day over and over, and she keeps running into this guy named Nick. I think his name's Nick. Excuse me while I have to look again. It is Nick. Found it. Emily keeps reliving Valentine's Day over and over, and obviously like the other people don't realize that she's living it over and over. I gave it 3 stars because I don't know, it was really cute. Don't get me wrong, it's a really super easy read, but I just kind of felt like the ending was kind of like abrupt. Like I don't really understand how the ending happened. I don't want to spoil it, but it was 3 stars. It was cute, super easy read. If you're looking for a read for next Valentine's Day, this is a cute one. Okay, the next book I read is By Thread by Lucy Score, and I gave this 4 stars, I think. It's a kind of a long one, but it's so cute. It's about Allie and Dominic. Basically, Dominic is like this super rich, like kind of egotistical guy, and Allie has like a bunch of jobs to try to make ends meet, and Dominic ends up like getting her fired from one of them at the very beginning. I'm not spoiling it. It literally says that on the back of the book. It was cute. I don't remember a lot of the details about it, but I remember that I had a good time while I was reading it, so I gave it 4 stars. Okay, the next book I read is one that I had seen like on TikTok and stuff, and I was never able to find it like at Barnes & Noble. Not that I was like set on buying it, but the one day that I did see it, I just grabbed it, and that is Praise by Sarah Kate. This is like the new alternative cover or whatever, because the old cover has like a dude on the front, and I don't like those. This is like an ex-boyfriend's dad trope, and it was taboo, but it was good. I mean, I gave it 3 stars. It was super quick, easy read. The chapters are short, but it's obviously super spicy. It's not like dark. I wouldn't say there's a lot of like triggering topics in here, but it is kind of strange at some points, but it was good. I gave it 3 stars. Okay, now we're moving on to March, and the first week of March was my spring break at my school, and we really started off with a bang in March with Daisy Jones and the Six. I loved this. I gave this 5 stars. This is nothing new. You've heard this before. You've heard so many 5-star reviews of Daisy Jones. This is the first book I have ever annotated, highlighted in, written in, or anything. I do not like writing in my books, but with this, I just felt like it was so worth it. In the beginning of my spring break, I went to Nashville and I started reading this on the way there. I just felt like it was appropriate, like the music, vibes, or whatever. Obviously, this is about Daisy Jones. She's a singer and a band called The Six, and they end up like merging. You've already heard all this. You know about Daisy Jones and The Six. The show is already out. The show is good. I started watching it. One thing that I really wish they would have done, which I know this is like kind of impossible, but like the songs in the show aren't like exactly how they are in the book, like the lyrics, but they're still good. I still have some of them downloaded, loved them, and I loved the book. This was a solid 5 stars. My next book I read on my spring break while I was at the beach is obviously Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is my first Emily Henry book, and I gave this 4 stars. It was super cute. I love January and Gus. I think that's such a cute name and one that I've never heard before. But anyway, basically the premise is there are 2 authors and they're kind of facing writer's block, and they both have like little beach houses next to each other. And they went to college together, like they kind of knew each other but not really. Their banter is so cute. I've heard that that's Emily Henry's strong suit, is writing banter, and I believe it. It's just like a small beach town romance, so if you like stuff like that, this is really cute. It doesn't have to be exclusively a beach read. I thought that that's how it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a super summary based book, but it's really not. You can read it at any time. But I gave this 4 stars. It was very cute. Okay, moving on to Twisted Hate by Anna Hong, and I don't really know how to rate this one. I gave it 4 stars, but I'm kind of like in between a 3 and a 4 because it was good, but it doesn't touch some of the other books in the series. This book covers Josh and Jules. Josh is Ava's brother and Jules is Ava's best friend, and I didn't love Jules in the first couple books. I kind of thought she was just kind of like sassy. I don't know. I didn't love her. She kind of had some redeeming qualities in here, obviously, but they're not my favorite couple. It obviously was like a vital part of the series, but overall it's between a 3 and 4 stars, but I did like it. I mean, I recommend it. Obviously, if you're already reading the series, definitely continue it, and it was cute, so 3 stars. Now we're moving on to the last book in that series, which is Twisted Lies by Anna Hong, and this book, I loved it so much. This one and Twisted Games are like tied. These are both 5 stars. I love this series. I thought this was the best way to wrap it up. This book is about Christian and Stella. Stella is like a social media influencer. Like, it's mentioned in some of the previous books that she had like an incident with a stalker. I was kind of freaked out at some points in the book with the whole stalker situation, but I'm easily spooked, so like take that with a grain of salt. Like, do with that information what you will. But this was so good. I loved them together. I loved this. I gave it 5 stars. 10 out of 10. Would read this again. The next book I read in March was Wretched by Emily McIntyre. Honestly, this one fell flat for me. I gave this 2 stars. I did not love it. So all of Emily McIntyre's Never After series are like reimaginings of fairy tales, and they're not retellings, they're like broken fairy tales reimagining type things. So this one is supposed to be based off of The Wizard of Oz. I saw like maybe 3 or 4 connections to The Wizard of Oz. Like, maybe I'm just not like a Wizard of Oz stan. I've seen the movie a million times when I was little, but it's been a really long time. So I've read Hooked, and I loved it. That book was so good. I was obsessed with it. I thought it was the best thing ever. And then the next book is Scarred. That's the second book. And then this is the 3rd book. I've not read Scarred yet, but I hear it's the best one in the series. You don't have to read these in order. These are all standalones. They're all totally different stories. This one just was not it for me. I did not connect with the characters at all. Like, they were so platonic to me. I don't know. I didn't feel like their relationship was very genuine. I felt like it was super surface level. Definitely check the trigger warnings because this is like dark. This story focuses on Evelina is the main character, and then Nick is the love interest. And Evelina, I think she's supposed to represent like the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, like the girl with the green face. I think that's who she's supposed to be, but as I said, there's not that many connections between this and the actual movie The Wizard of Oz. But basically Evelina's family runs like a drug business, and Nick is an undercover cop, and that's basically the whole thing. And I just didn't love it. It's 2 stars. We ended March on just as high of a note as we started it, with A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and this was so good. It lived up to all the hype that I've heard, and I loved it. I gave this 4 stars because I've heard the rest of the series only gets better. I'm halfway through A Court of Mist and Fury right now, and I'm loving it. I've heard that's like the best book of the series, so I wanted to leave room for like improvement, you know? So I gave this 4 stars. Basically, sorry, there's people talking outside my house. So this book is about a girl named Feyre, and she kills a wolf in the woods, and this beast creature comes to take her away to the magical like fairy lands. It's so hard to explain. Like, you can't explain the book without giving away like vital. There's a motorcycle outside now. I'll wait. Okay. It's really hard to explain this book without giving away the whole story. You know, I'm not even going to say anything because no matter how I explain it, it will not make sense. So you're just going to have to read it. It's so good. I highly recommend it. I can't wait to get to the rest of the series. The series kind of intimidate me, so I always take them a little slower because I just can't make myself get through them that fast. Sarah J. Maas, you might have hooked me into your universe with this one. So I gave ACOTAR 4 stars, and I can't wait to get into the rest. So these are all the books that I read in February and March, and hopefully we'll have another great reading month throughout April, and I can't wait to show y'all that wrap up in another video.